audio is being recorded on hands-free devices. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to a brand new episode of Trucker Talk. My name's Amanda, and as usual, I'm here with my crazy-ass friend Ginger. We have a newly appointed co-host this week. Some of you may remember him from last week's podcast. His name is Cousin Grizzly. What's going on, guys? So nice to have you here with me today.
Hey, everybody. It's your boy, Cousin Grizzly. I've been promoted from special guest up to the big co-host chair. Coming to you live and in color from the Walmart parking lot in Clear Lake, California.
What's going on, everyone? This is Crazy Ginger. I am currently in Texas at Pilot, hanging out, waiting to deliver my load, and yeah.
Awesome. Like I said before, it's so nice to have the both of you here with me tonight. We also have a very special guest with us today. His name is Bobby, but he likes to go by the name Heavy Haul. What's going on, Bobby? How you doing tonight? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing well, Amanda. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. I am a commercial truck driver in Oregon. I drive up to the ports of Seattle and Tacoma, Washington with heavy containers most of the time. I've been in the business for approximately almost 4.5 years now, and I am broadcasting from Woodburn, Oregon tonight.
I don't know if you listened to our podcast last week, but we had a huge debate on how that state is pronounced, Oregon or Oregon, and I think we have our answer tonight. So it is pronounced Oregon. And now, are you born and raised in Oregon?
Born and raised in Tigard, Oregon, yes, 10-4. And it is pronounced Oregon indeed.
Because in Grizzly, I told you.
Well, I was never going to argue with you. I mean, I grew up hearing it pronounced one way, and then when I moved out there, I heard it pronounced another way. And like I said, I ain't from there, so I don't give a shit. They can call it East Bumblefuck for all I care.
Wash your mouth.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear, Brother Heavy Haul, my little brother Bobby, he's apparently not familiar with how the show works, and telling your boy Cousin Grizzly to watch his mouth, that's like Jacques Cousteau trying to find a dry spot in the ocean. Good luck with that. So, Bobby, my man, give us some lowdown. You said you haul containers up to the ports. How's that treat you on a daily basis?
Let's see. I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot every day, having to sit for sometimes up to 4 hours at one port, and then having to go to another port and sit there anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 or 4 hours. But it's actually pretty good. Some days are better than others, but for the most part, I enjoy it.
True. I heard that. All right. Well, as you know, and other people are about to find out, I hauled containers myself for a hot minute. Wasn't really a big fan of it. You ever run into any people at the port, crane operators, port authority, or port employees, what I'm trying to say? You ever just run into any real assholes somewhere?
Oh, without a doubt. And they just, the port employees, they just think they're better than all of us because they make, more money. And, after all, we are just stupid truck drivers. So, but hey, it's a job.
Now, I hear container haulers get pulled into the scale houses more, and the DOT is on your asses more. How true is it?
Boy, I hope a DOT officer isn't listening. Actually, to tell you the truth, my current company I'm with, I've been with them for just over a year, and I have not had a level 1 to level 3 inspection with this current company yet. So for me, being that we are an Oregon trusted carrier, not very often, I would guess.
Okay, now I have a question for you. Since you're a container hauler, what's the deal with all the zip ties?
The zip ties, those are for your twist locks. We sometimes have to zip tie twist locks, or we have to zip tie what are called sliders in the front of the chassis to hold the containers in place, because the sliders and or the twist locks, they tend to move around, and sometimes they can become unhooked. And in the case that you do, in fact, get pulled into the scale, I believe, don't quote me, it is a $500 fine for each twist lock or slider that is found to be unlocked. That is failure to secure load. And it doesn't matter if the container is loaded or empty. When you're hauling an empty container, I mean you're loaded, obviously.
Ouch, that's a very hefty fine. Now, somebody told told me that you are an inspiration to the trucking world. Do you care to elaborate?
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to toot my own horn for all that. I mean, there are other people with the same disability as I have, except there are not as many. But I'd like to think that I am definitely one of the lucky ones who was able to get into this industry with the disability I do have.
Very nice. Well, you're definitely an inspiration to me, and if you care to elaborate on the disability and how you got into the industry, I would love to hear it.
Yes, no problem. And I thank you for the compliment. I have what is called spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. And cerebral palsy, for those who don't know, it is a fine motor disorder. And how I got into the industry was I was a cab driver at the time, and I wasn't liking that too much. And I just kind of said, well, I called a friend of mine up one day. I said, hey, I think I'm going to become a truck driver, and would you like to go look at a truck? And he said, yes. And so we did, and I sat in the driver's seat of it, and he looked over at me and said, yeah, this is you. And so ever since then, it was a definite fight to get into truck school. I've had a couple of them reject me, but one took me, and I was cleared by DOT with no medical waivers, and allowed to run 48 states if I wish.
That's amazing. I mean, that really is amazing. Now, do you come into any, okay, so we're all truck drivers here, so we know, basically what our duties are, what we have to do every single day. Now, what are activities throughout your day that are challenging for you?
Oh, I'd have to say, I'd have to say pretty much just getting in and out of the truck. I like the longer runs. It's a lot easier on the body. There are certain trucks that I like to drive over others because, of course, it just feels better. And for me, this is about longevity, And I guess other than that, pretty much the same things you guys go through, like, oh man, there's traffic up here, I have to slam on the brakes. So, that's pretty much it.
Now I'm curious, do you have a special, an extra step stool, or you just kind of are really strong, you're able to pull yourself up there? How does that work? Give me a visual.
There are certain trucks that I found out this time last year that I was not able to get in and out of very well, i.e. a Kenworth. I'm more of a Freightliner and Volvo guy. I like those. Those are pretty easy. Peterbilts I can do, most of them. It does take strength, and strength is what, when I came into the industry, I did not have a lot of. However, what I would do is I would go to the truck dealerships after running fares to the airport, if you will, and I would just get in and out of the trucks for about 2 hours, and I would practice and practice and practice. And of course now, I could just do it like it's nothing. So definitely have come a long way.
That's amazing, Bobby. That really is. You're definitely a testament. You can do anything you put your mind to, and that's really great. And honestly, I'm glad to be a fellow trucker right next to you. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me on the show and letting me explain.
So, brother, what kind of rig are you currently driving? Like make, model, transmission? Is it your preferred rig, or would you prefer something different than what you have right now?
The rig I'm driving right now is a 2001 Freightliner FLD 120 Condo. It is a 475 Detroit Series 60 with a 13-speed Eaton Fuller transmission. No special hookups, no modifications, not even a suicide knob on the steering wheel. My preferred truck would be the Freightliner Century class or the Freightliner Columbia, because you can see everything. And then, of course, when you get in those trucks, you're a lot closer to the floor. It's a lot more comfortable. You can extend your legs out more. And, of course, Volvos. Volvos are just, nothing's cheap in those pretty much. So, yeah. But, on the other hand, this is a job, and, it's at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, trucks are tools. Some are more comfortable than others, some are nicer than others, but I could make just as much money in my 2001 FLD as I could in my 07 Century class that I was driving previously.
Well, it is definitely that. It's always been my opinion that you let your driver make the truck, you don't let the truck make the driver. So I got a hypothetical for you, little brother. Let's suppose you have $500,000. You can build whatever kind of truck you want, whatever make, model, transmission, whatever modifications, whatever creature comforts you want.
I would have to say, a Volvo 780, but those are a little bit heavy for the kind of work I'm doing. So it would have to be a Volvo 670, an extended wheelbase with a drop axle on it, and I would have to say the Bostrom Wide Ride 2, because you could put the not the back of the seat up, but the bench of the seat, so it makes it more comfortable. And I would probably buy a couple of more trucks and start my own company, like I've been planning to do since I got in this industry.
Oh, no, it's definitely that. It's always good to have goals and aspirations, little brother. And just me speaking personally, I'm very proud of you. Like we were talking about off air, me and you used to drive cabs together back in the day, and that was a whole nother world. But yeah, man, we both come a long way since them days. You want to share any stories about your experiences being a cab driver?
Yeah, I've worked for several companies, and I worked for actually one of the biggest cab companies in Portland, just like you did. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about who our boss was, but the good thing about trucking is trucking got me out of poverty, and it got me off of the government dole. But at the same time, the problem is the loads don't talk back, whereas in the cab, the fares talk back. But, cab driving, I was talking to a friend of mine about, his welding career previous to trucking this morning, and him and I were talking about my career as a cab driver, and, I've pretty much just left it behind. I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I heard that, man. You couldn't pay me enough to go back to doing that shit. And the guy that you're talking about, we're not going to name names because we're not trying to, we ain't trying to catch no lawsuits for libel or slander or whatever. But yeah, I know exactly the guy you're talking about, and I'll tell you straight up, he was a fucking asshole and made rotten shit.
That's funny. I actually drove a cab as well, and I was an engineer shuttle. I shuttled the engineers for the CN Kirkyard and stuff like that. So I had all those cab driving people experiences like you guys. So I'm sure we can share more stories about that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You talk about a sociopath. Yep, there's one.
Never got into cab driving. Never. I don't think it is for me.
The countless questions I have from people who ask me about that career was, did you pick up any strippers? Oh my God, did you do that? Yes, I did. And I had them as personals. And, the thing is, like, no, I never got any favors or anything like that. They're just people doing the same thing that we are. We're just out here trying to make a living,
Yeah, I heard that, man. I used to pick up all kinds of people back in the day, man. I had strippers, I had hookers, I had escorts, which is, just a fancy name for a hooker. Drug dealers. I picked up just about anybody and everybody. If they was getting in the car and they had money and they want to go somewhere, hey, get in, let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember those days too. You hardly ever went on the dispatch radio. But it was for what it was. It was pretty good gig. I know for a fact, cab driving was a better gig for my father than trucking was. But some people can make it, some people can't, and I don't know. It just, in the end, in spite of being let go, it really wasn't for me.
Oh yeah, me personally, I would take truck driving over driving a cab any day. Absolutely. I did it for, I want to say maybe almost a year. And I did it, if any of you know of Gary, Indiana, ever heard of Gary, Indiana, that's where I drove a cab at. And I'm pretty sure I've seen just about everything.
Yeah, I drove a cab for 3 years. And, I guess being that it's been 4 years and a couple of months in the trucking industry, I guess, this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
That's a true story right there, little brother. I mean, me personally, trucking's opened up a lot more doors for me since I got away from the cab business and doing other shit that I used to do back in the day. So anyway, last week we were talking about the pros and cons of electronic logbooks and whatnot. Are you on electronic or are you on paper right now, little brother?
I have never been on electronic yet. I am running paper, and I really am unsure as to what's going to happen in the next few days, because I know we need to be trained for it, but what I'm concerned about is they're just going to throw the e-logs in and off we go. It'd be kind of nice to know how to use them. And it looks like this is really happening. It looks like there is just no stopping this anymore. So we'll have to see if it's going to be a good or a bad thing. Some people say it gives you more time because you're not doing 15-minute increments. But others, of course, swear by paper. But I'm one of the new school truckers. I don't cheat. I'm usually honest.
Right. All right. Now, with that being said, without naming names or pointing fingers, have you ever come across a situation where somebody you were working for maybe not outright said it, but maybe firmly hinted or suggested that maybe you needed to saute your books a little bit in order to get the job done? You know what I'm saying? Put a little light seasoning, a little grill on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely, and I've absolutely had that happen. I told him next time it happens, I'm going to walk out. There will be no 2-week notice, no 2-day notice. There will be a 1-second notice.
Yeah, I haven't been on paper log ever. I've been on e-log since I got into the business. I've been trucking for 2 years now. Yeah, I was definitely.
But yeah, now with these e-logs and stuff, it's going to be pretty hard to be able to do something like that and get away with it anyway.
And during your first year, you pretty much have to, yes, it's illegal, but, you pretty much have to bite the bullet. You can't jump around from company to company and stuff. You don't have those choices yet. So you have to go with pretty much whoever will take you. So there is that.
Yeah, little brother, there is definitely that. I remember when I first started, because I kind of came in the ass backwards way, but we'll get into that story another time, because that would require me to go back to my days in Texas at CR England and shit on a whole bunch of people, especially one motherfucker in particular. But yeah, once you get your time in, get you a little bit of experience, get your, be confident in your abilities. And, if you do like me and go ahead and acquire every endorsement known to man and just generally don't have a give a fuck at all attitude, much like yours truly, yeah, I'm not above telling somebody what the fuck they can do with themselves very loudly, because I don't give a shit. Even the job I have now, yeah, I like it. I might even say I love it. But, if they start shitting on me, or if I feel like I'm not being treated fairly, or they ask me to do some shady shit, or, shit, even if I walk in the office and somebody just look at me the wrong way, like, motherfucker, like, what's today? Today's Tuesday? I'll make a phone call. I'll be in a new truck by Friday somewhere else. So it's just a matter of putting your time in and just knowing when you can say, fuck it, I don't need this shit, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not going to slander anybody, but I actually didn't sign up for health insurance because I didn't know how long I was going to be with the company, and I was playing it not day by day, not hour by hour. I was playing it literally second by second. With me, I cannot really pick and choose because of my disability. It's snow season right now, and everything's horrible, and I cannot walk around in snow. I just can't do it, and that's unfortunate. So there's me, and I really wish I hadn't drank all that caffeine when I was younger, because I'm not a very tall person, and maybe if I was, people wouldn't, they'd think twice about talking down to me.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, little brother. I was actually going to touch on this subject a little bit later. When I attempt to be a serious podcaster and deliver news and shit. But recently there was a story from my old neck of the woods, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, about a truck driver that got robbed at gunpoint, and then even after he gave up his wallet, the dude just shot him in cold blood. That being said, that leads me to my question. Have you run into any situations, truck stop, port, wherever, where maybe you felt like your safety may be in jeopardy? Somebody try to step to you, somebody try to bowl over you or some shit, somebody bow up at you? You ever run into something like that?
Fortunately, not yet. There is always the occasional four-wheeler who gets angry at you for apparently not letting him cut you off as he's merging on the freeway, so he'll race in front of you and slam on his brakes. But no, fortunately no road rage situations as of yet.
Oh man, just wait. I've had actually a few scenarios. One that sticks with me every time I get out at a truck stop. When I first started driving truck about 5.5 years ago, I stopped at a truck stop, and I actually remember, I think it was like the TA in Greencastle, Pennsylvania. And somebody ended up following me to the restroom and stood outside the door and waited for me to come out and tried to, advance. And it was actually really scary because as a female out here by myself, that's, one of my biggest fears. And so I always stay armed and prepared for situations like that at all times.
Oh, yeah, and I have a very good friend, a dear friend, in fact, who is a female driver. She drives containers also. And when she used to go up to the ports in Seattle and Tacoma, the rest stop at 54 heading north on I-5 in Washington, she didn't like stopping there because she said it was very secluded and there are a lot of trees around and stuff. And she liked to be in a more open area where people could see her in case anything like that happened. So, yeah.
Well, brother, tell your lady friend, next time she's heading up that way, if she don't want to hit that rest area, I highly recommend GC's at exit 57, Jackson Barn, Jackson something, exit 57. If you're heading north, get off at the exit, take a left, go over there and park, and go in there and get you a Bigfoot burrito. Baby cousin Amanda, that was going to lead me to, actually Amanda and Bobby, that was going to lead me to my next question. What are y'all thoughts on truckers being able to carry guns for self-defense, or if not guns, taser, pepper spray, battle axe, fucking harpoon gun, something? What are your thoughts?
Oh, being that I have a 2.5-foot winch bar and a 3.5-foot crowbar, I don't feel the need for a gun, and I also have a semi-truck too, that an absolute need be. If a car driver were to pull the gun on me up next to my truck, I'd just simply run him into the guardrail, and that would disable him, and I'd take off down the road, and I would call the police and tell them what happened. However, I do think that a firearm would be beneficial. especially for somebody with a disability like myself who has a hard time with balance and, can't run very fast, and being the hard time with balance cannot defend himself physically.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. It's funny that you bring this up, Grizzly, because yesterday or the day before, I came across an article. I don't know how true this was, on a Facebook page that said that truckers can now carry, like, legally state to state, because before all the laws vary depending on which state you were in, but there was some kind of exemption now. I don't know how true this is. Please don't mark my words on this. That truckers can now carry in every state without having to have like a permit for that specific state, which is awesome if it's true, because I feel like truck drivers should be able to be armed and protect themselves for situations like, mine, or the one that Bobby was saying about his friend, or anything. You just never know nowadays. But me personally, I have a taser, I carry knives. I literally have at least 4 knives hidden in my truck, in different compartments, just within arm's reach, like wherever I'm at in my truck. You never know. So always be prepared.
Well, see, now that you brought that article up, may need to do some research on that and find out what the veracity of those statements are. Because me and Brother Crazy Ginger, we were talking about it off air, about how you may have a concealed carry permit in one state that does not reciprocate in another state that you may be traveling through, and something happens, you get pulled over, you get an overzealous cop or overzealous DOT officer. They want to inspect your truck, and then they find your piece and your paperwork isn't legit in their state. Then you're up shit's creek without a paddle.
Yeah, man. Like I support you. And like you're saying. I was telling you that. I don't understand the same level as. Why can't we at least have something to protect ourselves? I mean, I do have a taser gun and a few knives in the truck, and never mind a couple beater sticks and whatnot. But just a nice little 9mm would be nice, just to have, just in case some 4-wheeler wants to get out of hand. You never know.
All right, Ginger, don't be bad mouthing people from the South, man. You talking about my home territory, but no, seriously, like that trucker down in Baton Rouge got killed. I mean, he was out of his truck making some repairs and shit, and this dude just walked up on him, and he demanded the dude's wallet, and the dude complied. Handed over the wallet, didn't put up no struggle, didn't try to start no shit with him, and the dude just straight up just shot him, just gunned him down in cold blood. Now, on a normal day, I don't worry about people fucking with me, because as I've said before, anybody that knows me, anybody knows what I look like, knows that there is nothing about me that says come up and fuck with me. For the record, I am 6 feet 4.5 inches tall. I'm about a biscuit away from 400 pounds. And I typically walk around with a look on my face that says, if you fuck with me, I will rip your goddamn spine out. Now, that being said, that doesn't make me immune to some jackass trying to make an example out of me for whatever fucking reason. Maybe they high on some shit. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they think, I can take this big old motherfucker right here. I'm going to get famous. I'm going to make a reputation off of him. I mean, shit. I got a tire thumper. I got a knife in my pocket. I got a razor knife, Craftsman razor knife, multi-tool on my hip. Somebody come pointing their pea shooter at me and shit. I mean, I'm quick, but, I would rather have something. I'd rather be able to unload on them before they unload on me.
I hear you on that. I wasn't really picking on the South. I mean, I feel safer in the South because everybody's armed. I mean, up north is more fucking crazy. New York is the worst. I go into the city a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I hate New York City because always hearing police sirens and all kinds of shit going on. It scares the shit out of me every time I'm up that way.
Right. I heard that. I ain't never been to New York City. I ain't never even been out that way. I have no desire to go. And it's cool if you pick on the South a little bit. I do too. I was just giving you shit, bro. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pick on the South right now. Let's see here. How do you circumcise a dude from Alabama?
How? Do I even want to know how?
I couldn't tell you.
You kick his sister in the jaw.
Oh my God. But yeah, I definitely would like to look up, the legitimacy of the article that I read, because that is something that I think personally needs to be implemented. We should be able to carry, and we should be able to carry across several different states. So, right there with you.
Hell yeah, we need to find out about that. I mean, hell, my old lady. I shouldn't say my old lady. I'm sorry. That was crude. My lovely fiance Rebecca, if you listening, I love you, mama. Yeah, she's got a concealed permit, and me not being home, I'm happy that she's got it. Some shit pops off. If I got to get a phone call saying that somebody done fucked with my woman, I'm turning this motherfucker around. I'm going home. I'm fucking killing somebody. End of story.
Oh, absolutely. There's gun control is a totally different topic that I could go on forever about. But in today's world that we live in, I think it's important that everybody is able to protect themselves.
Just watch your ass, basically.
I was hearing a news story on the radio on the way to work earlier. Actually, I live in Chicago, so there's about 500 shootings a day. Anyway, some guy was getting robbed. He was getting out of his car, but he held him up with a gun, and the guy who was getting robbed had a gun, and he shot the guy. And you know what? That's the way you do it. You're not going to get shot at if you can shoot the guy first.
Hey, a lot less bullets would be flying around if everybody has bullets to fly,
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, shit, the most recent church shooting, which I want to say it was the one in South Carolina. I could be mistaken on that. There's so damn many of them now. I don't keep up with them anymore. But yeah, that dude, after he got done shooting up the church, he got chased down by a citizen, and the dude was capping off rounds at him with an AR-15, I believe they said it was. I mean, whoever says, yes, we need better gun control. I will freely admit that. Specifically, my thoughts on the matter, specifically where you can go to a gun show and leave with a fucking arsenal without so much as a fucking background check or anything, that's fucking bullshit. I heard on a show one time I was listening to, I'm trying to remember her name, the Jim Cornette Experience. Now that I think about it, shout out to Jim Cornette, my personal hero, love him to death. He was comparing gun control to abortions, where in some states you can only get abortions in certain places. Like if you're in Texas, like let's say you live in the south end of Texas, the nearest place you can get an abortion is 500 miles away. Well, if they made it that fucking hard, if they made it as hard to buy a gun in some places as they do to get an abortion in some places, a lot less people would be owning fucking guns, and probably the people that don't need to have the motherfuckers in the first place probably wouldn't have them.
Absolutely. That's actually a perfect analogy, and I'm probably going to steal that. That's so perfect. I agree with you. There needs to be... We have to find a happy medium here, because people that shouldn't have these guns have them, and like you said, they have them because they're so fucking easy to get. So there needs to be some kind of way that we can figure it out where these people aren't able to go to a gun show and buy these crazy weapons that you only need if you're going to war.
See, it's like Jim Cornette said on his show when he was talking about gun control. All right, you need, at the most, you need a 6-shot revolver for personal defense. You need a shotgun for home defense, maybe a rifle if you're into hunting. I'm not into hunting, not because I'm opposed to killing animals for food and skinning them and cleaning them. And, I think it's barbaric or anything like that. No, it's just that it's really early. It's really cold and I don't fucking want to get up and go.
I was watching Gangland the other day, and this guy, ex-gangster, was talking about how these gangs, some of them, like, you know, he said they would have these guns with chain bullets, like that of gun you would see on a Hummer H1. I mean, just for like shooting rival gang members. It's like, really?
So let me see if I understand this. So gangbangers out on the fucking street can have fully automatic weapons that are belt fed. I mean, that's where the phrase "the whole 9 yards" come from, because back in the day when they had the belt fed machine guns, typically these belts of ammunition were 27 feet long, 9 yards long. So when they would unload the whole fucking thing towards the enemy, they say they use the whole 9 yards. But what you're saying is that, you know, these fucking street trash gangbangers can have fucking heavy artillery, but I've got to jump through fucking hoops to, you know, go down to the gun shop and pick up a fucking 44 Magnum.
Yeah. But, you know, on the other hand, you know, Switzerland dedicated a whole city to bicycles, whereas we come out with the double down chicken sandwich from KFC. So, you know, it's all about priorities.
But then again, I have also heard about Switzerland, that in Switzerland, every home is required to own a rifle. Not sure what make and model, not sure if it's an AR-15, AK-47, whatever the case may be. And I honestly, I don't know the veracity of this statement because I don't keep up on Swiss politics. But what I do know for a fact is that, much like Israel, when able-bodied young men reach a certain age, there is compulsory military service along with weapons training. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. And Switzerland has one of the lowest fucking crime rates in the world. Why? Because everybody has a fucking gun and they know how to use it. So ain't nobody going to Switzerland and starting to fuck up because they know what's going to happen. They're going to get some lead in their ass.
That is very true. And my stepfather actually is from Switzerland. He was in the Swiss Army, and he is a gun enthusiast. And he's an avid hunter and fisher.
And a cup of hot cocoa to wash it down with. All right, there it is. There's the answer. We'll just all pack up and move to Switzerland. Who's ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Now, I have a question, since you said your dad, or was it your stepdad, I'm sorry, is from Switzerland. Now, the Swiss Army knife, was that originated from the actual Swiss Army? Just curious.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'd be down to go there and drive truck. On the Swiss Army knife, you know what? I am unsure of that.
I think I'm going to have to go ahead and bust out the good old Google.
Yeah, my grandfather is actually from Switzerland. He lives here in the United States, but yeah, he is well armed.
As is my stepfather. I went to Switzerland when I was 14 to visit my stepfather's mother and brother, and needless to say, I didn't really appreciate it too much. All I could think about was getting back home to my Nintendo 64 and playing Wave Race. That, and you know, nobody spoke the same language as me. If they had to, they didn't like it. But looking back, I would definitely like to go again now that I'm older. It's a beautiful country, and actually for my week's vacation coming up in almost a year, I'm actually planning on going to Sweden and Germany and visiting my step-grandmother and my step-uncle and just seeing the sights.
So, little brother, that being said, stepfather's from Switzerland. I know they don't have an official language in Switzerland. I know depending on where you are in the country, they all speak different dialects. What is your stepfather's preferred native tongue, I should say? Swiss.
However, he does also speak German. My uncle is the one with all the languages he can speak. I believe 7 different languages: Spanish, English, French, Dutch, German, and also his native Swiss.
Wow, that's amazing. Like all those languages. So you are going over there. That's crazy. I always wanted to travel. Like, I want to go to Italy and I want to see New Zealand and just all those places. So I will get there one of these days. But Christmas is coming up. So are you guys getting home for Christmas? I know, Josh, you're OTR and so Kyle. So what are your plans for Christmas? Are you driving or are you making it home?
Well, I would like to be home for Christmas. I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I'm a little fried in the brain at the moment, so I don't even remember. Let's see, today's the 12th, so that would put Christmas on a Monday. So realistically, probably what's going to happen is they will give us Christmas Eve off at home. And then depending on where the next load is going, I will probably have to leave out and start driving on Christmas Day. So, yeah, there's that. Oh, and little brother, tell stepfather I said, Guten Tag, mein Bruder, wie geht's es Ihnen?
Yeah, I'll be out for Christmas. Yeah. It's alright, though. I get compensated for it, though. They pay us pretty well to be out on holidays, so don't mind it.
Yes, we'll do, big brother, we'll do.
So for all of us non-Swiss speaking people, would you like to translate what you just said?
Well, the formal translation would be something to the effect of, hello, my brother, how are things? The informal translation would be like, sup, homie? Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Je suis Grizzly Driftwood.
So how many languages are you fluent in, Cousin Grizzly?
Fluent, let's see, English, sarcasm, profanity, and real shit. Dabbling or conversational, a little bit of Spanish, un poquito de español, a little bit of German, a little bit of French, un poco de Italiano. I can say a little bit in Japanese, but I'm not sure if I'm ordering dinner or making an indecent proposal to a geisha girl. I haven't really had a chance to test that theory. I've been listening to, obviously I have a lot of time on the road, so I don't always listen to podcasts or audiobooks or something like that. I do have Apple Music, and I've actually found quite an extensive collection of language lessons that you can listen to through Apple Music. I got real deep into the Spanish because that's the one that I grew up with the most. I tried to learn Russian. I really did. I gave it the college try. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking speak Russian. I would love to. Actually, my buddy Jeff, he said, that he wanted to learn to speak Russian. Cool, go for it, dude. Go ahead and learn that shit. Holler at one of them babushkas or some shit or another. I would honestly rather. It would probably be easier for me to learn Dutch South African than it would be for me to learn. It fucking be easier for me to be fluent in Japanese than it would be for fucking Russian. I can't fucking do Russian.
People that I work for are Lithuanian, and me, like Russian, Lithuanian, it sounds very similar. My sales manager, every now and then, she will email me a phrase in Lithuanian and translate it for me. And oh my gosh, listening to them talk, listening to them speak to each other, they sound super harsh, they're just angry all the time.
See, and that's what people tell me when I speak German, because apparently to some people German it just sounds dirty and aggressive, and sometimes I'll be fucking with Mama, Rebecca. I call her Mama. She calls me Papa. Just don't ask. But anyway, when I was listening to the German language lessons, I would say the most sweetest romantic shit, but it would come off sounding like I would basically come off sounding like fucking Hitler at Nuremberg. Like I'd walk up to her and be like, "Du bist eine, mich lieben," and she'd be like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I'm like, "You're the one I love, babe."
Oh my gosh, yes. That's how I feel like when the people I work with speak to each other. Like I feel like they're yelling, like they scare me. It's actually kind of scary. But there's this app that I use. We're not like sponsored. It's not an ad or anything. It's called Duolingo, Duolingo, and you can pretty much learn to speak any language. It's free, by the way. And I studied on that. I did a little bit of Italian. I freshened up like my Spanish on that. So it's actually pretty cool. You should check it out.
I did the Duolingo for a hot minute, and I got fucking annoyed with it because I would do a couple of lessons and I would do really well on them. And then I'd put it down and I'd come back, I'd go to sleep or go to work or go do something, and I'd have like 8 fucking notifications. That motherfucker, Duolingo, your next lesson is ready. Duolingo, come back, we miss you. It's like, dude, I have a fucking life. Get off my dick, you clingy motherfucker.
Yes, that is, I will testify that definitely happened. I think there's probably a way you could turn those off, though.
I think the funniest thing was when my Chinese teacher with the heavy Chinese accent attempted to teach a middle school class Spanish.
I was honestly sitting here as you were saying that, trying to put that together and do an imitation to attempt to make fun of it. I can't. Like, my brain cannot fucking process that, and just thinking about it, it's making my head hurt.
It was really something.
Give us your best impression.
All right, let me give it a shot here. Oh, hola. Oh, ¿cómo está usted? Beef fried rice to there. No, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible racist, xenophobic asshole. I'm sorry. I need to go to church or something. I don't know.
Well, folks, I think we just got our snippet for this week's episode.
Was that the point where I got us kicked off the air?
Maybe.
I mean, I've still got more. I've still got to cut that promo on that one motherfucker. And I got to do the fucking, the one thing at the end of the show that we talked about.
Yes, you do. No, we're not kicked off yet. I think we're good.
Well, good, because it ain't like anybody's paying us to do this shit. I mean, fuck, we're not drawing 15 cents in Chinese money.
Yes, but someday we hope to be. I mean, I would like for you guys to make as much money as humanly possible on this podcast.
And by that, you mean enough to buy a McChicken.
Yes.
Yeah, please send all donations to patreon.com/we're hungry and want to buy lunch.
/feed the truckers.
Yes, feed the truckers.
Feed the truckers.
Now, boys and girls, you know what day and age we live in. That's hashtag feed the truckers. And if anybody's still listening to this train wreck at this point, again, God bless you. You're doing the Lord's work by tuning into this shit show. If I can beg everyone's attention for a minute, if you've made it this far and you're still here, go ahead and drop us a like. Maybe share with your friends. Share with your enemies. Share with people that you know. Share with people you don't know. Share with people that you don't even like. Just walk up to random people and be like, hey, you should check out this Trucker Talk podcast. It's a great way to kill 30, 45, 90 minutes of your day, whatever the runtime is going to end up being. You know, when this drops, as the cool kids say, also leave us some feedback. You know, let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. If you want to leave some love and affection, or if you want to tell me that I should be taken out back and shot with a dull bullet, you know, anything helps. You know, just give us something. Give us an idea. You know,
We like food.
Absolutely. Also, since we're on the topic of leaving feedback, we are looking for a theme song for our podcast. So if you have any ideas, write them in the comments, and maybe we will pick the best one.
Yep. In the meantime, go over there and smash that like button. Smash it. Come on, people. Let's see how many likes we can get.
Yeah, for the theme song, preferably something in the public domain that we don't have to pay licensing fees for, or just something really old and obscure that nobody's going to pay attention to anyway. I posited a suggestion, a theory the other day that very, very few people are going to remember or understand. But if anybody within the sound of my voice grew up in the South during the late 80s to early 90s, you will remember on old World Championship Wrestling programming, every once in a while, there would be somebody come out to this wonderful, wonderful theme song that I later found out went by the name of Satan's Sister. And they gave this motherfucker to everyone. The Hollywood Blondes used it the most, that being Steve Austin and Brian Pillman. And by the way, if anybody can't tell, I'm also a huge pro wrestling fan. So, yeah.
Never really got into wrestling. Not my thing.
I remember back in the day when I was in class, the hot thing was The Rock and Steve Austin and all kinds of shit. Nowadays, it is UFC.
Back when I was in middle school, I actually watched wrestling, like WWE, I think it was, or WWF, I don't know, you guys, oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, my stepdad took me to a wrestling match, and we saw, like, The Big Show, and I forget who else, but I was, like, a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, and actually in, like, my 6th or 7th grade school photo, I was wearing a Stone Cold t-shirt, so, you know, that should tell you how much of a big dork I was.
Yeah, a couple of years ago it was called WWF, now it's called WWE. Yeah, but was able to follow it that far, but nah.
I remember back in the day, they used to have wrestling buddies at Toys R Us, and they were just basically these pillows that were in the shape, and they looked like the professional wrestlers, like Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and all that, and those were so cool. And I also remember playing the video game WCW NWO. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Point of order there, Brother Ginger. It's actually been 15 years since the WWF had to change their name because of a lawsuit that they lost in a high court in England against the World Wildlife Fund. So from that day forward, pretty much to my dying day, I'm going to go to my grave being like, fuck those fucking animals, fuck them fucking tree-hugging hippies, they fucking ruined my fucking childhood, fuck them in the ass with a rusty fishing knife.
I actually liked it a whole lot better when they called it WWF, but, yeah.
Yeah, see, I remember it as WWF, so, yeah, that's how far back that goes. Wow. It's been a minute. It's been a long minute.
Shit. I lose track of time so easy.
So Crazy Ginger here had an insane experience on his home time last weekend. I feel like you should tell this story because it's hilarious.
Okay, yeah, fine. So yeah, I was home, and me and my friend, we were driving around. I've been looking for a newer car. So we were driving around, looking for a newer car. I was using my piece of shit car that I currently have. But we were driving down one of the main highways in New Jersey. It's called US Route 9. And we're heading south. It was down south New Jersey. And we had passed a car that was on fire. And I turned to my friend and I said, that shit's pretty fucking crazy. And, we went home. And he went and did his own thing. I went to Walmart. He came to Walmart with his car. He had an oil problem earlier in the day that I had fixed for him, and I told him to wash down the car. Well, he never washed down the car. So when he came to Walmart, I was coming out of Walmart, and of course I was like, I'll just follow you back home. And he raced out of there. I started racing right behind them. And we were just going to get back on Route 9 and race each other home. And we started getting on the cars, and all of a sudden his car started smoking. A cop was coming the other way, had turned around, flipped, almost ran me off the road. Went after my friend because he was smoking like crazy. I was right behind the cop, pulled up behind the cop after he pulled my friend over. He hopped out of the car, my friend did. Along with the cop was hopping out of the car. He was screaming fire. The cop ran to the back of his truck, popped open the trunk, went to his car with 2 fire extinguishers, put out the fire. Then we had, like, I don't know, 30 cop cars by us and 4 or 5 fire trucks and EMS and the whole 9. It was pretty crazy.
God damn, dude, that sounded like some shit y'all was in.
Yeah, well, it was crazy because we went by a car fire, and the cops were freaking out too because they were like, 2 car fires in one night? This is insane. I mean, we live in small towns, so I mean, one town to the next, not too far. And the cops were just like, this is crazy. And I was like, you think this is crazy? I said, we just passed one, 2 towns away. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's insane. It really was crazy. It kind of had me shook up a little bit, but cop had suggested that we go home and drink some beer, so that's what we did.
And that would have been the point right there where I'd have looked at that cop and said, yes, sir, boss. Peeled the fuck out.
Right? Don't gotta tell me twice.
Yeah, the cops were pretty cool with us. I mean, they didn't catch us speeding or anything, so. But the cop actually thought my friend was doing a huge burnout. At first, he just thought it was a huge burnout. He wanted to see what kind of car he was driving. I mean, that's how bad the smoke was coming from his car.
Well, folks, I think we are way past our little half hour, 45-minute, 90-minute maybe even. But before we go, we have a new segment. It's called Cousin Grizzly's Jokes Against Humanity. So take it away, Cousin Grizzly.
All right, well, I've actually been debating about whether or not to do this one, but yeah, fuck it, I'll go ahead and do it. Just a disclaimer, the views and opinions and shit that you're about to hear are strictly mine, so don't go hating on everybody else on the show. This is just me. I think a good one here. Fuck, I'll go with a classic. Who are the world's fastest readers?
Who?
9/11 victims. They went through 87 stories in 10 seconds.
Damn.
I told you. I fucking told you.
It ain't called Jokes Against Humanity for no reason. Well, anyway, thank you so much, Bobby, for coming on and chatting with us. And once again, you truly are an inspiration, not only to me, but to the rest of the trucking industry. And keep doing you and keep showing everybody that you can do anything to be kind to.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, Amanda. It's been a pleasure. And also thanks to Grizzly and thanks to Kyle. And yeah, I'm going to keep it up. And
as I was saying, Bobby, just keep on trucking, keep doing what you do, man. It's pretty awesome that DOT and everything else has been coming through for you lately. So have a good one. It was good talking to you. Josh, it's always been good talking to you. And Amanda, you're awesome. Love talking to you. And I'll say my goodbyes to everybody else. Goodbye.
Always a pleasure talking with you, Ginger, of course. Same goes for you, Cousin Grizzly. Y'all have a good one. And if you're still listening to this, tune in next Friday for a very crazy, insane episode of Trucker Talk. See you later.